into a model we call the communication model. Now, if at any point in this training I use long, complicated words, that is only to make me more interesting than I really am, or more intelligent than I really am. So please, you have the right to shout at me and ask me what I mean. John Grinder would call this model the epistemology. John Grinder has one book, it's called Whispering in the Wind, it's written in boldface. It should be this big because the words that he uses, John Grinder is a linguist, he was one of the creators of NLP. And we used to sell his book on our website and give away a free dictionary with every book. I just think it was a good idea. It took me a whole year to decipher what the heck he was going on about. It was, unless you are really, really intelligent, which clearly I'm not, he has a... Excuse me, that's karma, that is, I'm talking about it negatively. He has a way with words that I don't. So we've retitled a lot of what you're going to see this weekend to hopefully match in with people like me that think normally rather. I mean, he's an absolute genius, there's no doubt about it. But I certainly don't sit there. So we call this our communication model. He would call this his epistemology. Has anyone heard of epistemology before? One person, there you go. Communication model make more sense? Yeah, good, all right. This is how we represent the world, how we think about the world differently. Now, you have 5 senses. This is an intro into NLP. We're going to look at the 5 senses, not the 6th. That's a different program altogether. 5 senses. And you're using them all the time. We have our visual sense, i.e. what you see. Actually, what you see isn't what we call reality. What you're seeing right now is a reflection of light that travels through these things we call our eyes, through the retinas, through thousands of neurological connections before we get a picture at the back of our head, and we call that a picture. If I show you this, what is this? Nice easy questions to start us off on Saturday morning. Yes, a pen. We would label this a pen. But in order for you to know that this is a pen, there's certain things that have had to happen with your brain for you to label this thing a pen. I.e. the light has reflected off this, travelled through these things, and you have a picture somewhere up here. But there's a number of things that happen before you get that picture. And that's what we're going to look at. Because if we can create change before we get the pictures, sounds and feelings, or even if we create change with those pictures, sounds and feelings, we create change that is life-changing. Not just change in the moment, but generative change that goes throughout our life. The communication model. You have your visual sense, that's your sight. Your auditory sense, if I make you aware of it, you can hear the projector. You probably weren't aware of it until I made you aware of it because you've deleted the stuff that you don't need. Okay? So you've got your visual sense, your auditory sense, then we call it in NLP your kinesthetics. These are your feelings, your sense of touch. Okay, so in teaching, for the teachers, this is the VAK stuff. Visual, auditory and kinesthetic. The way that I was taught at school was they would write on a board and I would copy it down. That didn't match in with my style of learning, which is very visual. When I write notes, see some of you writing notes, I draw pictures rather than write notes, because I learn easily from pictures rather than from note form, which I was given at school. We all have different preferences about how we live our life and how we think. We are all unique and very different. So we have our visual, our auditory, our kinesthetic, we have our olfactory, there are smells, and we have our gustatory or gustatory, depends where in the world you're from, they're your tastes. And those 5 senses are working for you right now, all of them. You probably have a preference with 1 or 2 of them, but those 5 senses are working for you all the time. But in order for you to process the information that's going into your brains right now, you have to have a certain number of filters, a bit like a coffee filter. If you put the coffee in, you don't want all the gunk that comes out of the coffee in your cup. You want to filter out the gunk and just get the nice flavour coffee. Just like your brain, like a computer. You have a computer, you put too much software into it, it crashes and tells you it's had enough. Your brain works in the same way.